we go, everybody. Welcome to the best of CES 2020 from CNET. We're live here in Las Vegas. I'm Brian Cooley, editor-at-large, with Scott Stein, editor-at-large. And now the dust is settling.
Feels like it.
Just enough. The show is open tomorrow, but things really start to close up today, or conclude today.
One more run around the old South Hall.
Around the old ranch.
Yeah. I got to do one more tour and
to see
check
how
out the
much
last
we've missed.
Yeah. We're missing. It's impossible to feel like you've seen even a fraction of the show.
Now, the only way we can really get our arms around this show is that there's 90 of us, and we cut it up into 90 parts, and that's how we know what we're about to do, which is we think our best estimation of the most important products and trends and what they portend for the year in tech ahead. So this is our roundup of roundups. We've been doing these for a couple days, but now with all of our editorial leads and all of our reporters, we've come up with this particular list that is your must-know from CES this year, and here we go. Starting off with the Alienware Concept UFO. It's one of the only of the prototypes we're going to have on this list. Almost everything else is real and going to market right away. But we're confident that this one is going to arrive. This is portable PC gaming.
Yes, but that it also docks. This is the Switchification of all gadgets. Like I wrote about a year ago or more where I thought the Nintendo Switch would spark this. And this is a PC that's kind of an evolution of where Razer was years ago with an edge gaming tablet that they made.
Right.
And it makes sense. You want to play games on the go. You want to dock them. The technology is there. You could fold things. That's part of the evolution of computers. But also the modularity of being able to take things and bring them somewhere else and throw to the screen.
Yeah.
Eventually that should be wireless. But the idea right now of doing this looks like a product that should exist at the moment. It's still a concept, but it's totally ready to go in spirit, and we've seen things like this.
It's a good size.
Yeah.
It's a handful.
Yeah.
It's so it is satisfying in its portable mode.
I love the controller.
Yeah, they come together into one, which I think is very elegant.
Yeah.
So this is obviously this is analogous to a Switch, but it's PC.
Right. And then I think that there are enough games out there that would really merit doing that portably. You're not going to play all the crazy games, but all the indie games on Steam, we're already there in that pipeline, so I want to play this.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Now, number 2 on our list now is Impossible Pork. Between hardware, firmware, and software in the tech industry, we're now making room for wetware. Impossible followed their huge 2019 debut of the Impossible Burger with the Impossible Pork, which was debuted here. This is what it looks like. You can see it's a different color. It shapes differently, but it's still in the ground plant-based meat category. I believe they did 25,000 samples of it here.
I have not tried one of them yet, and I'm really
dying to. It might be out by now. I think by Thursday they're probably
I'm going to wait for it. It's debuting soon, right?
Yeah, it'll be at 160-some-odd Burger Kings in 5 states in an early launch, or a test, I should say, technically. But they did that with Impossible Burger, and it pretty quickly, I think even faster than expected, went to a nationwide rollout. This should have relatively fewer hurdles to go the same way because the burger set the table for the pork.
Yeah, well, now, I was watching your taste test of all of the plant-based foods.
Yeah, that was an interesting follow-on we put together to kind of go around this.
It was great, and there were so many, and I feel like it's transforming so rapidly that the flavor combinations and the textures, it's surprising to me. Where I try them once in a while, but it was surprising it debuted last year. Now it seems normal. Yeah. And in the landscape, it seems a lot more normal.
Yeah, the shrimp fried chicken and ice cream we had here yesterday show that it's not just a one-note tune of ground plant-based meats, but it's going all different directions. Very cool. Let's take a look now at the Withings Scan Watch. I mean, you think about watches that track health. You think stairs, step, sleep, pulse.
Yep.
This adds another view.
This adds sleep apnea, and I think the thing to watch now in all of wearable tech is where do you get the sensing from? It's algorithms. What's fascinating is the ability...
Not direct sensing, but algorithmic interpretation.
And using a lot of the same sensors that have been out there. It's pulling signal from noise better and trying to pursue FDA clearance for it. Withings is a health tech company that's already has FDA clearance and ECG, and they're all about real health tech.
Yeah, they're credible.
And they're pursuing FDA clearance on sleep apnea. This is the type of thing that Fitbit has been talking about for years. And has been doing studies on. It's using a SpO2 sensor that's out there in other watches.
That's oxygen content in your blood, blood perfusion.
Pulse ox, but it now they feel is clinically ready from their trials to pull meaningful data about that. You'd still want to go see a doctor and probably go for a sleep study and all that, but it's awareness of it. I have a CPAP and sleep apnea, but my awareness still of how I'm sleeping is not great, and so I like the idea of that to give a little heads up.
Yeah, because a CPAP fixes it, but doesn't necessarily give you insights into tracking it?
It tells you your interruptions, your little throughout the night, but it doesn't give you much more than that.
And by the time you got a CPAP, you already know you've got apnea.
Right.
This is the precursor stage of figuring it out.
This is the precursor, and it could even be used if you already have it. And in a similar way, blood pressure is, I mean, I'm like the test bed for all the emerging tech problems. I have high blood pressure, so I've been dealing with this. In a similar way, there are earbuds from Cell that are using, that are beginning to detect blood pressure for general wellness.
Yeah,
but
right
using,
on the cusp of that. Yeah.
Using heart rate sensors, so algorithms.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is not directly measuring or using a microphone to listen for snoring or for breathing interruption. It's doing a more indirect measure of another signal, and then figuring that out if it's going to be an apnea.
We're going to see more sleep apnea sensing watches, and we're probably going to see blood pressure sensing earbuds.
Yeah, that I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because everyone will wear earbuds. A lot of folks are never going to wear a blood pressure watch, as cool as Omron's is. The buds are already there. Let's go on to another body sort of technology, L'Oreal Perso. Now, you might think L'Oreal Beauty, right? And this does have a beauty component. But as you see it right there, it's a little tower you have filled with some cartridges of pigment to make custom lipstick. And you do that with an AR app. So far, not that amazing. But what it also can do is give you a custom mix of wellness components like vitamin C serums or SPF or a moisturizer, and make that a custom mix suited to you as well. And I don't believe the app has any way to figure those out. It can just look at you and do color things, but you can still set it to have the custom mix of wellness and not just attractiveness that you're trying to gain from their product.
This is like a real-life face filter.
I
feel like this is the equivalent of like the way you could fix yourself, but they say,
here it is.
Here are the
like
real
it,
things.
Now do it.
Yeah.
And the little machine is so interesting because it has these little tiny little ports on the bottom, so the pigment seems to almost come out of nowhere, and then you just kind of smear it all together. And
that's one of the weirdest things, just watching them ooze and emerge.
I know, because you almost don't see the little ports where it comes out of, so it appears to appear magically. But this is a little, Home Depot paint mixer that you use for your face instead. All right, robots. I came here looking for a lot of robots. It's hit and miss at this show. I thought it was a little underwhelming.
Yeah.
We saw the Samsung Rolly.
Yes.
And you introduced me to that yesterday. And then we talked a lot about Tombot Jenny. Jenny is a dog, and this is a dog that you might look at from, I would say literally from 10 paces. You would really have to scratch your head and decide, is that a dog or not? In fact, after I saw it and it fooled me, I was so kind of not trusting my own vision that I walked into our green room here and someone had a real dog, and I said, is that dog real or not? I didn't trust my own eyes anymore. Here is what Jenny looks like. Inside, which we'll see in a moment here, there's a very complex dog-like skeleton. So they tried to mimic the actual skeleton and structure of a dog. They're really proud of its ability to move and its ability to wag its tail, both mechanically and algorithmically, as you see there, in a way that is very, very dog-like. Now, it doesn't get up and walk. It's a simpler robot. That's why it's $400. And it has sampled real dog barks, whines, and whimpers, not some synthetically created thing, so it sounds very realistic, they say. It's not a toy. It's for animal-assisted therapy for people with dementia.
And it was co-designed by the Jim Henson Company, which
I
didn't know it either, and I was reading the story.
Oh.
That's brilliant, because I think we're at the point where, like we talked about with robots, where puppeteering, animation, the desire to be more like Pixar and puppeteer. There are people who do this brilliant stuff.
Right, they're out there.
Yeah, to fool our minds and win our hearts. And
let's get them connected to these kind of
tech.
companies. Yeah, it was very impressive. I know robots can often be kind of an eye roll, especially when they're little fluffy puppy robots. It's like, okay, that's a silly toy. This is not intended to be that. Brainco has a prosthetic hand we saw here, getting into a different market now, right? We're getting into a medical market or a quasi-medical market. And the idea here is that you would use brain signals that are detected and muscle electrical impulses on the remnant limb that are also detected to get this thing to do relatively natural and very discrete finger-specific movements. It's almost hard to believe.
This obviously has tremendous implications for amputees, or just for. So it's an exciting development. I know this has been in the works for a bit. We've read stories about it. Sounds like it's ready or near being ready.
Yeah, and I think I believe they're in an FDA clearance segment. $10,000 to $15,000 would be the price. It's obviously medical equipment. That, I'm told, compares to $60,000, $70,000 or more for the state-of-the-art prosthetic hands that are controllable now more by gesture. I think you kind of give it a shake and the fingers will do certain things, but it's not an exceedingly rich array of things that the current hands can do. So take a look there, shaking hands with Ashley Esqueda, and that's a pretty natural looking kind of a thing. I haven't been engaged with it. I haven't shaken hands with someone wearing it, but she reported it was pretty amazing.
In a side note here, it's been a quieter show, but an interesting show for VR and AR. I say that because I think about hand tracking. I think about next generation inputs. This is for people who really need it. But brain interfaces. Facebook's been now announcing that they're working in that realm.
Oh, they're hot.
They're
red hot.
Where it's going. If you can get good enough for someone who actually needs it to replace their hand,
to drive
the possibilities for people for telepresence, for doing all sorts of things, avatar type stuff, movie and real. I mean, in reference there, I think there's a lot of interesting ground that we're not at yet, but we're getting closer.
I don't think it'll even be CES 21, but by CES 22, I think we're going to see a really interesting, rich, and conceivable brain-computer interface market that's starting to emerge.
If I could use my hands to control something like 1,000 miles away.
That's really scary.
It is.
I'm nervous when you're right near me. Maybe it's better if you're 1,000 miles away.
Pat on the back. Cross coast.
Samsung's, and we normally are 3,000 miles away.
Yeah, that's a safe.
Once a year, we're like tethered. And then we're coast to coast.
Is there a chance to catch up? And then next CES.
And then I'll see, hey, how you doing? It's been a year. Samsung's Galaxy Chromebook. This is a collaboration between Google and Samsung. You think Chromebook, you think usually, inexpensive cloud terminal that is meant to be kind of just basic hardware and kind of dumb, to be honest. This is really premium and apparently high performance. Yeah,
this is a super high-end. This is a $1,000 13.3-inch.
Yeah.
It's got pen support. I think the big thing here is the 4K UHD AMOLED display.
Oh, yeah.
It just looks like a 2-pound-ish great laptop. I've been looking at high-end Chromebooks myself the past couple of years. I reviewed the Pixelbook Go, which was trying to be just a good laptop.
Yeah.
It's always a funny dance because Google holds some things back in what Chromebooks can do, but Chrome as a system is getting better and better and more instant, and I work in Chrome mostly anyhow.
Right.
They still have a ton of really low-end Chromebooks, which is what a lot of people love because education and home. I think this is an exploring interesting frontier, not just for Chrome, but for PCs. Because we still say, what is a PC? How powerful do you need it to be? How instant can it be?
Yeah, a couple carve-outs that I keep coming. I love the Chromebook idea. I'm a big Google services and Chrome user, but it lacks in video editing. We don't have that nailed as a cloud function yet, even basic video editing. And PowerPoint is still PowerPoint. You don't do Google Sheets or slides and get a similar result. If you're a PowerPoint jockey like I am in so much of my work, there's just no replacement for a installed presentation platform.
Somewhere between iPad and Chromebook is where I've wanted to be for a couple of years now. It's like where the iPad excels at apps and is fantastic for that.
Yeah.
And where Chrome's great for the internet and for that sort of online web OS or CMS, anything sort of thing. But the two are still. Google's never handled Android apps on Chrome the way it should. It still feels wonky. It still feels wonky.
That's still wonky, isn't it?
Yes, it feels
coming out of the
totally
same house. That should be utterly seamless and elegant.
Yeah, I think that is where things are growing. But you see these two companies coming from different directions.
Let's talk about folders now. TCL foldable phone. This is a prototype. One of the other prototypes we have on the list, a very few. Bending screen. We've got here aim at premium, saying, look, no sacrifice is the idea. As much screen as you need in the moment. 3 cameras at least, so full camera stack, or is that 4? And 5G, of course. This is still not to market yet, so when it does come, it'll have to be a 5G phone. But you and I had the most interesting revelation, I think, that I may have had from the entire show, which is where does folding belong?
Yeah, and I think it belongs in tablets.
I agree.
Yeah, I think
I'm starting to feel that way.
I'm excited you feel
that
way. Yeah, I
bigger is more useful, oddly enough.
Yeah, I think that you're going to see everybody throwing stuff at a wall, and you're going to get to the point where you don't even really know what the definition is. I mean, Microsoft's upcoming folding smaller tablet phone, but they won't call it a phone. Dell was here on stage showing off similar types of things with foldables, tablet and a laptop. Lenovo's got that. Dell also, asking them that question. When you have a folding tablet, could you get into phones? Could you basically be making phones? And what is a phone? When you can unfold a phone and make it something that's something bigger. I like
unfold a tablet into a laptop. Now I think you've really got an interesting pair of modalities.
I like a phone I can chuck around and not worry about, and foldables don't feel
they're still
durable
they're
for
delicate.
that.
Yeah.
But if you can take get a netbook and then unfold it to a tablet, and then perch it and then have a keyboard, that seems like the thing I would be using all the time.
Yeah.
So
and the Dell prototype had all of those attributes, right?
Yeah.
Detachable physical keyboard, on-screen virtual keyboard in the lower half.
And do that.
Yeah.
But TCL is becoming a bigger player in phones, so that's interesting too.
TCL is getting very serious, and now they have the TCL brand in phones, where they used to use the Alcatel brand that they purchased, which, barely a player, not in the U.S. market anyway. So they're putting their brand out there more, some confidence. OLED TVs are the TV that a lot of people really aspire to. They're very expensive. They come from relatively few players. But our most intriguing TV story may be the entry of Vizio into OLED coming up later this year, simply on a price story angle. I mean, here's David Katzmeyer. He's with that. On the right there is the Vizio OLED, and that's literally all we saw. He was showing a Vizio logo. The one he's looking at now is a current Vizio TV, very nice, high-quality TV. When Vizio hits OLED, Vizio could democratize OLED, and that's where we think the story's interesting. Not that it's going to be a better OLED dramatically. I'm sure it'll be lovely, but it's a price story.
Yeah, this might be where I get an OLED.
Right.
For me.
Right.
Because I don't have one. I tend to buy TVs at the $1,100 price. That's like my...
Okay, big spender.
Yeah, right.
I like $500 and no more.
That's my one. No, the $1,100 in the living room, and then $500, lower anywhere else. It is big spender. That was a couple of years ago, too.
I want your hand-me-downs. I'm a $500 guy. That's it.
But
I have a limit of $10,000 on buying a car, too. So I just have some nice
I hear people buying like $2,000 plus OLEDs, and I'm like, well, that's great. I'm not going to get one.
I'll come over to your house and watch it,
Yeah,
but I'm not going to buy that
I'm not getting one now, but I feel like we're going to get to that point where you might consider them. And it kind of I just want ones that are good for games, that the picture's great.
And we saw that trend also. The TV makers are saying, look, it's kind of table stakes now. These displays, which is really all they are, displays, have to be game performance ready to some degree.
Yeah.
You have to say, we got good refresh, good, what's the NVIDIA bus technology moving?
Oh, the G-Sync?
Yeah, the G-Sync we saw come out in some. So it's really about making TVs truly game ready and not just sort of like an but bigger place to put your game.
Yeah.
Last thing we have here is, you may say, that's old, but it's not. It's finally coming to market, the Y brush. And I'm intrigued by this. This is the 10-second toothbrush, because right now you don't brush your teeth right and you don't brush your teeth long enough. That's their story, and they're right on for most of us. This is the one that looks like like those little trays they use at the dentist to take a casting of your teeth.
Or to apply gel.
Yeah, mouthpiece.
Fluoride gel.
A fluoride gel thing. It's got the way to do your teeth in 10 seconds for the top row, 10 seconds for the bottom set. You're done. Notice all the bristles in there are pre-angled at that angle your dentist always wants you to hold your brush. And they've got, they say, the vibrating, oscillating in there to be just the right to loosen up all the material, just like a sonic hair, of course. The key here is that they're now ready to go to market. I think $125 is the market price. I think they're still looking at $25 each time you've got to replace the brush head, which will wear out. My concern here, and I like a lot about this, my concern is that is the ugliest industrial design I've seen in a long time. That thing looks awful.
It looks...
You really couldn't make that look elegant like a Sonic hair or an Oral-B in its handle?
It's a smiling set. It's body horror.
And
it's like
a bad shape. This is an old video, but I assume that this is what the design still looks like.
I don't brush well. What are the etiquette implications of pulling out a Y brush to quickly brush your teeth? Like right around here in the future.
Well, that's what's interesting. If it's that quick, why not do it more often?
You would keep that in your bag in your bathroom,
right.
Or just like while eating lunch. I mean, people are going to start taking these out.
But you still got to spit, and that's where it goes wrong. Yes, still got to spit
into your cup that's sitting on your table. It could get
not
really
when I'm around.
It could get really hygienic and really gross.
At the
Very
same time.
soon, yeah.
All right, everybody. That's our best of CES roundup. That is by no means a comprehensive list of all the interesting products at CES. They're the ones that we thought deserve your attention the most in a short snapshot. To see everything, or at least a lot more of the 40,000 product stories here at CES, go to ces.cnet.com.